The tune here in the tuning pin. There's about 100, 120. Right there it starts to move, about 150. So that's a beam type torque wrench. Okay, I'm going to measure the tuning pin torque on the tuning pins in the pin block. This piano's got what they call a closed face design. You got a plate and the pin block is backed up against the plate in the back. Like over here. So these pins are actually not into the steel plate, they actually go through the back. You got the pin block. I've got a torque wrench of 0 to 200 inch-pounds. And I'm going to go through here and just measure when the starts to rotate. There it is, about 150 to break free. This is on a Adam shaft. There's a chafe. It's a 58713, built in 1921, and it's an old player piano that I'm going to try to resurrect. Probably need to pull out the pneumatics on here in order to go through and really tune this up, so that's another project. You undo these screws on here, undo the tubes, undo this, and then there's a piece over here I've got to undo, and then this whole gizmo will lift out of there. And with doing that, I can get in there and probably get the mutes and everything on there. This is I think called a mandolin bar that's used in place of tacks. That was put on in the mid-80s. It's kind of all out of adjustment, so I'm probably going to take all that off and get it out of the way during the tuning procedure. This is an upright. It's about 52 inches tall. The bass section here, of course, you've just got one set of strings, and then you get up to here, you've got two set of strings. Of course, just like all other pianos, you get way up top, you got three set of strings up to here. So you've got to mute each one when you tune this thing up. But this is the torque wrench on here that's 0 to 200 inch-pounds. I want to make sure before I even fool with this thing if it's even worth fooling with, because this thing went underwater, 2 feet of water in Katrina, and I'm not really sure. I want to just go through and check the pins to make sure it is tunable. Otherwise, you basically got to go through and redo the pin block. The pin block's a piece of wood behind here that is fitted to the frame, and the force from these piano strings goes into the pin goes into the wood, and the wood on this is backed up against the frame. And here's a Piano Technician's Journal old issue from January 2002. I'm not trying to rip this off too much, but this is showing a closed face design here where you've got the plate, which is visible, and then the pins stick through, and then there's a little bit of clearance in here which is not obvious, and so the bearing of the force goes into this pin block, which is alternating layers of maple. It's a very laminated piece that's made especially for pianos. It backs up against here, and then here's an open face one where you actually can see the wood on the pin block. This is a closed face one, but this is a regular tuning hammer that goes on here that you use. And what I've done is gotten a little torque wrench here that's in inch-pounds. This one goes 0 to 200, which is pretty handy because you want the torque on the pin to be such it's going to hold the force. You don't want it to be really low down here before it breaks free because it's not going to hold tune. So I've just got this thing, and I'm going to go through and measure the torque on there. This is a 1/4 inch square thing I've adapted. Okay, my little beam torque wrench here goes 200 inch-pounds. It's got an end that's 3/8 inch. And then I went to Home Depot and got a 3/8 inch to a hex size. It doesn't really matter what that is. And then I got a 1/4 inch socket that's driven from 1/4 inch to the same hex. And just put the two together like this. So I've got a deal that has got a female 3/8 inch to a 1/4 inch female, and I can plug this together on my torque wrench so I can measure the torque. So these two really don't make any difference. You just have to have them to match. But my torque wrench here, I want to have this 1/4 inch end to put on the tuning pins. And the reason I got this 200 inch-pound torque wrench is that the tuning pins need to be up in this range, and probably around 100. I'm not a guru on that, but it needs to be enough that's going to hold the tuning. And so I want to make sure I don't have any that are way down in the low end before I start on this project, because it might be that I've got to put a whole new pin block in there. So that's the beam type, because I want to actually measure what it is. And this particular one is a model TWI 200 by New Britain. I got it used several years ago, and it's pretty short. It's only about 10 inches long, and this little gap, again, this is the adapter 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch, and that's to measure the torque on the tuning pins here, which go into the pin block and over here on the piano.